Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Devoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game. This is a live one, but I'm not playing. We've got Bete versus Cymbal. One side, Bete's using That's Russia, and his opponent, Cymbal, is using France. So they're my favourite factions. Russia, of course, is my go-to, and France, when I practice with allies, I like France, because I think because most games don't go on beyond 20 minutes, most games, that means you don't get a chance to use the tech, the high-level tech assets most of the time, not for most games, so that means out of the allies, the only ones that have early tech advantage or a benefit is France, because they have the fake structures, which can be very useful. So that's why I think France has an advantage, you know, on average. Look at this, we've got a dog, but it's not going to protect the engineer. Wow, it did, because it spotted him first, and Cymbal didn't see. And he's had to back off. It's the dogs giving him the view range benefit. So that's the first capture there, and it was a clash. So, you know, Bete's got the better of that first engagement. And he's still got his dog, and his engineer is on his way to his next oil derrick. So, is Cymbal going to respond? It looks like he's fallen back, he's consolidating, and he's gonna have another go at it in a minute. And as it stands, Bete's got free rein to capture the oil derricks, and Cymbal's got his closest to him, but Bete hasn't. I would always go for the closer oil derricks first. I'd put a rifleman there, then the engineer straight away. Get that captured, and while that's happening, I'd send my other rifles to the next oil derrick, so that when the first closest oil derrick is captured as early as possible, and I'm getting oil derrick earnings as soon as I can, just like on Timian, go for the closest one, and then when it's done and your engineer heads for the second oil derrick, it's already got a group of units there protecting it, because they come straight out of the barracks and take and hold the oil derrick ready for the engineer to move to the next one. And then you should at least have an equal amount to the enemy, and then move on and either contest the next oil derrick or go for one of the enemies or whatever when you've got your scout vehicle. But when you play that kind of style, your enemy is doing the same thing. It's a very, you know, standard pattern, and you're not going wrong by doing it, but it usually comes down to one player making a mistake or something, or losing an engagement because they didn't prepare properly, you know, and for one side to lose or one side to gain the advantage, it's tricky. But if you break that pattern without falling behind and go and do something else, like one of these players could have launched a small raid somewhere, you know, for example, and that may have cost them or win them the early game. It's just tricky knowing what to do in this situation when you're up against a good player. But he's getting some good scouting information, but he's gonna lose that if he doesn't move it. But yeah, Bete's got free rein on all this. Yeah, he got rid of the scout flak vehicle. They both got the 3 refineries, but let's check the army value at the moment. It's almost identical, the army value, but Bete has got 3 oil derricks. Cymbal has got 1. So now his first tank's out. What about Bete? What's his vehicle status? I'm not sure. He's got this, where it looks like Cymbal chose to get the a tank before his MCV, which in his situation isn't a bad idea. It's actually given him the advantage now in a head-on engagement, because Bete hasn't got a tank. He has now, so now he's got the advantage, but it was a nice little decision from Cymbal to actually go for a tank first before his MCV. But this is another clash again. They're smashing into each other. So I think I would consolidate a little bit more myself now if I was Cymbal and attack somewhere else. I'd do a Gren drop myself in this situation. Consolidate and Gren drop. But here we go. We've got a clash here. Those tanks are melting under that amount of rockets. There's not loads, but yeah, there's enough to wipe a tank out. And let's see. Yeah, he could have pushed that. And he's got his tanks. Yeah, I think the Bete has got this, but for that indecisive order of retreating for a moment has led to him losing the moment. He had him. He could have overrun there and then caused him to fall back, but nope. That indecisive moment has lost the moment. It's gone. It's past. That needs to get out of there. But if these start to attack the MCV, these units can kill them. No, not now. There's a base defense on them. That's lost. You shouldn't do that. I'm surprised at Cymbal letting that happen. To be fair, I am surprised. Yeah, and another player has put the same thing, a question mark. There we go. That's decided that. His Cymbal decided that was it. He's done it. He's done it in. I'm just going to type something. I'm going to put, they could have fallen back and fought on, which is what I'd have done, because they were clashing head to head. It hadn't been decided, but yeah, he's put he didn't want to, and that's fair enough. So, you know, why not? Why should he? If he doesn't want to slug it out and play on, why not? You know, why not just call it there? There's no reason. So, yeah, well, it was a brief one, 7 minutes, and there was a fair bit of combat for a 7-minute game. Well, I'll look at the stats and that. Army graph, you can't see much of Bete's army colours on the graph. But if we zoom in and look, there we are, look, you see the graph there. If you zoom and look at something light coloured, like the river, you can see where it peaks there, look, the army graph. Bete had a larger army at that point. And he did have an increase here as well, from like 2.5 to just after the 4th minute. He had a far larger army, but they did drop at a very similar rate. It's just that Cymbal's dropped slightly further. Yeah, it didn't need to be called at that point, and they just smashed headlong into each other, even after Cymbal fell back, and they smashed head on again. You know, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have been more cautious. But even if I had, I would have fallen back. But never mind. He's made a mistake, a misclick, and that at some point. Yeah, misclicked. So yeah, that was a shame. Because for that short a game to have that amount of combat, it was quite good. But we've seen the army graph. It was, you know, close, except Bete did peak above Cymbal. Earnings graph. Yeah, it is peaked again above him. And then at this point, at like 4.5, he's peaked above him in earnings. And then at the just after the 6-minute point, Cymbal has dropped and Bete has increased. So that probably is the deciding factor in if it had gone on. Combat chart, close look. 21 to 18, 75 to 85 in kills. That's not bad, it's close, but like I say, the economic situation would have dictated how it continued. Cymbal would have had an uphill struggle. But war and real-time strategy combat often is an uphill struggle, especially multiplayer. There's the economy tab. Economic tab. I've got a little bit of cash each. There's the basics. 82 to 88. Yeah, well, there you go. There's the stats. And it's a game that doesn't feature me, so I'll probably post this one just for a change, so that, you know, because it's a game featuring other players. I'm just going to put, thank you for letting me spec GG all. I'll just put cheers for now, and I'll leave it there for now then, guys, and I hope you enjoyed that brief but brutal game, and until next time, thank you very much.
Battle control terminated.